Ooh, I'm a scary ghost, 'cause it's haunted towers. Ooga booga, baba booey, babuchi, baba. All right, I can't see shit in that thing, so let's get into it. So this level in 120% is one of the hardest levels in the entire game, and that's mostly due to the flame charges on the metal knights in shining armor. But they're not really our shites in knighting armor. They're really just sons of bitches. Now, this is one of the few levels that incorporates the fairy kiss. So the only way you can kill these armors is by having the super horny Spyro power up. And you'll notice that I get real close to them. I'm going to go ahead and pause right there and just kind of give you a quick demonstration of how close you have to get to these enemies while they're standing in order to get a good flame charge on them. Now notice that we have a standing one right here as well as a laying down one. Now I use two different strategies for flame charging these enemies. Now for this one, I get really close right up next to it and I get that flame charge out. Remember to hold up on the joystick so that way you keep your walking momentum for that couple of frames that you're not charging and doing the flame, and then get right into him. And I cut off to the side of him. You'll see that I go off to the I don't go perfectly in his center. I go off to the left because Sparks' gem range is a little bit more lenient on either diagonal side of Spyro like that, rather than straight on. You can still get the flame charge straight on, but I prefer to go off to the left. It's a little easier. Now, with these guys over here, what I prefer to do is a jump flame charge in order to get them, to get their gems to home in. So let's keep watching here. We're still using the flame from the first fairy, and you can see we just barely make it to this wall, which would be a metal wall right here. You can't see because of the camera, but I barely am able to flame it in time. So I'm actually going to go back all the way to this fairy and just talk a little bit about this movement getting up to this area. Because as you can tell, I just barely had enough time to make it there, so every second counts. Let's take a second and just take a more analytical viewpoint at the movement reaching this area. Start off with a charging jump, and then that way you'll be at full speed right away. Try to skitter jump up that, but if you just end up with a charge jump like I did, that's fine. Flame charge through this guy. If you get the gem home in from the flame charge there, great, but if not, you'll be able to collect that later, no problem. Definitely not worth stopping for by any means. Now, that fireworks chest right there is actually a real doozy, and if you're new to this strat, I would say you could just go straight to the left first to save some time. But or to save time on your movement from the fairy here so that you don't run out of super flame. If you are running out of super flame doing this fireworks strat, then just get rid of the firework, because you will come back through this area later. But it's an extra ballsy strat to grab that firework early. Make sure you flame charge that guy. If you miss the flame charge on this guy right here, you have to remember to grab this yellow gem later. It will not be within the view of the camera when you're coming back around this way, which you would think it would be, but it's because you grab this and then go that way. So the camera's kind of facing more to leftwards when you're coming back through this area. Now, as you're coming up, really, I charge jump up every small surface. You can even skitter jump up those, but really trying to cut the lines as straight as possible. Fucking push up against the wall like that. And then give it a tiny walk before flame charging into the thing. And if you do it right, you can actually hit this guy right here, this little flame, this little knight in shining armor right here, and turn it in. Now, next up right here is another clutch strat. Check this out. Boom! We just fly up into the fucking air. So how do I do that? Let's go back a little bit. It's all in the setup. It's all in how you run up into this area right here. So what I like to do is run up, charge up. Let me go slow-mo here. Run up, and then you do a charging jump up here, and then jump charge this. That's very important. You could opt to do multiple jump charges here, but you'll see I do a very clear X input by itself down here, and then into a charge. And that's something you wouldn't see just like if you weren't looking for that. But that's really important to making sure that you get up there quickly enough so that you dodge this guy's lightning bolt. Because if you just hold charge getting up there, or charge and jump, if you just hold X and square going up this slope, it's not enough to get a skitter jump. So you have to do the full jump charge in order to get up there as quickly as possible, which you need to do to avoid the enemy. You get up this way, and then you take a wide kind of right turn into this, straight on into this wind tunnel right here. Take this exact line that I take right here. In fact, you can even come a little wider around this kind of outer edge here, but you don't want to go straight through this area. That will affect the way things work. There are ways you can figure out your own sort of little run-up strat with this that's consistent for you, but whatever setup you do, you want to make sure that, and this is the key part right here in determining how Spyro leaves the wind tunnel is the way you jump into a wind tunnel affects the way you leave a wind tunnel. So in this case, I do a full hop. You see I'm holding the X button. I do a full hop, but it gets cut off like, you know, a third of the way into the hop while I still have upward momentum. That upward momentum is carried into the wind tunnel and ends up spitting me out, interestingly, at a lower spot at the top of the wind tunnel, because I already have the momentum built. The wind tunnel thing's all right. Well, I've already sent him up far enough, so he's good. I'm assuming that's how that works. If your height is good when you're getting spit out by this, again, if you don't do that momentum conservation going into the wind tunnel, you're not going to get spit out at the right angle or height. You'll have too much height. So if you are having trouble with too much height, that's your problem. And then from this point, I'm holding right. Take a look at my joystick down there. I'm holding right and up. What I believe Farnia and other people who are also experienced with this trick, they'll do some D-pad strats. I think you can just hold just straight right on the D-pad, but you can see I'm holding a hard right on the analog stick. And what I'm doing here, look at that. Look at those look at those analog stick movements right there. Look frame by frame here. I'm holding right in accordance with pushing down against the wall. And now I'm seeing that at this point, you can see his head, and you're seeing you're a little bit in front of him. So in that split reaction time, look at my analog stick at this point, right here. Look at this. Crank it up just a little bit, so that way he pushes up against the wall. The idea is that you're wedging Spyro between the wall and this thief. I got lucky with this one that I was so far in front of him and got away with it. Really, you want to be a little bit more wedged between him, a little bit further back than where I was. But with my particular setup with this, it worked out great. I got plenty of height. You can see you need to ride the wall a little bit in order to get the proper angle to get in there. So that way you can get squeezed between the guy and the wall and get what's called a proxy, where you flop up with a lot of momentum into the air. That's a fail-safe mechanic in this game, caused by being wedged in between surfaces that you're not supposed to be in between. I'm going to be making a rat proxy video in the near future, talking a little bit more about proxies and what they are and how to kind of account for them. But essentially, you're just getting squeezed between the wizard and the wall, and that's what's kind of squeezing you and getting you shot up into the air, is that squeezing motion. Now here, I think it's really helpful to grab grab these three boxes here. Go for these three. This one, and this one. And if you hit this one on the left side, you can get a charge jump into these two, and you'll know you did it right if the lady goes into the wall, basically. And so that leaves you with, look at this, look at the configuration here. There was a box right here. It's really nice to be able to flame those and then clean that up while the gems come down. See, that's pretty nice cleanup right there. And in fact, you could even flame charge even more there. Ooh, unlucky with those. Unlucky with these guys. These guys could definitely be all flame charged. And what you want to do in that case, in fact, what I'll do is I'll show on screen what it looks like when they're all properly flame charged, so you can use that as a visual reference to know what you're going for. You have to flame all of them, basically, in order to get the proper technique here. You have to flame charge all of them. Like this guy, I got hit by this guy, but you want to flame charge him, and then flame charge this guy, but use the flame from this one, just like how I do here. Like, take a look at these last couple guys right here. Boom, flame charge, and then grab that one out of the air and flame charge him. That's the way you want to end it. And then flame charge everyone before that, basically. The only guy you don't flame charge is the second to the last one. And keep in mind, with those guys, part of what makes them so tough, I'm going to keep going here. Part of what makes those guys so tough is that you're coming at them from different heights. And the higher you are, the more difficult the flame charge is. Luckily, with the Knights in Shining Armor, they are at a kind of, their flame charge height is a little bit higher than normal with some enemies. So you can flame them from the air like that and get the flame charge on them, relatively doable. But if you find yourself with a good spacing and you're still missing them, consider your vertical. You might have too much height on them, especially that one that's back up over here. This one, people generally have too much height for, and if you have a lot of height like that, you want to curve off to the right and get the diagonal sort of approach, like what I was saying with Sparks extending his gem grab range from before. Flame charge that. What I like, this doesn't really matter, but I like to swipe the side of the left of this box right here, so that way it also charges into this, which makes the movement a little cleaner coming out of it. You have plenty of time to flame charge that and then grab the yellow out of the air, which would be optimal. I would say that was pretty good movement there. Just real quick, this little back here, this little hole that you fall into, this hole is actually really easy to bonk on. And really, if you're going to do a charging jump like I did, do it very preemptively. You can see just how early I do the charge jump here. And even then, I'm lucky I didn't bonk that. I'm lucky I didn't bonk that. You want to do that early. What's a safer strat if you're scared of bonking it is to do a short hop charge down there. That's a little safer, but not technically as fast because you have to stop charging. Move this out of the way. At this point, we are now going to the treasure room. Routing wise, we do the rooms in this order. There's 4 doors in this room. We do them from right to left, counterclockwise. Beautiful cleanup. You want to do it in 3 charges like that. I really don't have many words to say about that, except that there are a few like kind of optimal kind of task ways you can do them. Ideally, basically what you really want with this room is to flame charge coming in, get the flame charge on that guy. It doesn't matter if you miss his flame charge like I did here, it doesn't matter. What's really important is that you charge directly in the middle of these boxes right here so that you could get them all in one fell sweep, which I did. And then that way you can do the rest of the cleanup in 2 charges like that. And then just recharge your way out for any leftover gems like from the missed flame charge on the guy. That's kind of the breakdown of that room. This little green guy, the flame charging in this section, from this section forward, the flame charging is really going to make a huge difference in your time. So I'm going to talk about some of the minute movement sort of nuances about these flame charges. It's all stuff that's visually, you know, compatible, but just stuff that what I'm thinking when I hit them. With this particular guy, I want to be turning in towards the because I want to come back out when I do this, right? So if I flame charge him straight on and then fade back, I have to spend more time turning in the air. Spyro takes a while to turn in the air. So what you have to do is, or what you'd want to do ideally, is be turning in either to the left or the right. I opt to turn left counterclockwise for this guy. And I'm already halfway turned back towards the way I want to come. And then that way, my jump charge coming out of this flame charge can be clean and I can press up against the wall like that. That compared to just charging straight forward, then jumping, fading back, even getting a flame charge and going straight forward and coming straight back, what I did there saves a good like 2 seconds off of that. Or a second or 2, you know, whatever. You want to get political about it. This guy, you technically don't have to flame charge. And the thing with it is you want to flame, if you do want to flame charge him, which is optimal, you have to flame this door early. Flame the door early, because if you wait till the last second to flame the door, then you'll hit this guy with your flame and have to grab the gem out of the air, which isn't a big deal because you can just charge onto the first step from there. But this is technically, what I did here is technically faster by like frames. With that guy, you don't have to flame charge him. You're going to be coming back out this way. These guys don't worry about flame charging. That was something that fucked me up for a while. I used to always flame charge these guys because I'm thinking like, you know, at this point in the level, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling like a badass flame charge and everything, right? Don't flame charge these guys because there's going to be a cooldown that you don't want because you do want to flame charge this guy, all right? So just be quick with your charging here and really cut in the middle of them. Really, like, see how I sideswipe the first guy? That's clutch. You don't want to go straight through the first guy. You want to sideswipe him so that way you can hit the second one before they throw the grenades. And as you're coming out of the air, again, don't worry too hard about hitting every flame charge here. As you're coming out of the air, see if you can hit that flame charge right there. I missed it. I go for, now check this out. This is the first instance of a grounded knight where I do a short hop flame charge, a jump flame charge, if you will. And this is the exact sort of technique you want for that. Like, just look at that frame by frame here. Slow-mo. And that's great because then you hit the other guy as well. And again, the guys that I'm not flame charging here, I'm going to be collecting their gems on my way back out. So they're a non-time loss. Same thing with this box that I did with the Nork on the interior earlier. I'm turning as I'm doing my flame charge, so that way I'm saving time on the jump turn. I'm already halfway turned through the jump, and I can press up against the wall with my charge. I seem to have played it a little safe here, which makes sense because there's a fucking corner right there. So didn't want to charge too quick out of that. Really extending. Now just look at that. Just like extending Sparks' gem grab range as much as possible. In this game, people have a lot of gripes about how far Sparks can grab, but here is a really great example of how far you can extend him if you were to run straight forward and not be turning here like this, like going for that trajectory, if you were to just go straight forward like this, you would have to get right up to about here for the gem to collect. But since I'm going to be turning like this, I could take a line that looks more like in this sort of way, right? Because Sparks is going to be a longer range looking diagonally forward in either of these directions if you're turning. And when you're not turning as well, but when you're turning it, it accentuates that sort of effect. Really flame charging this guy off to the side. Again, I'm really talking real nuance with the movement here. So if this seems like obvious to some of you guys, then good. That means you already know what to do. That's a good thing, you know. But this is more just to kind of outline like just how like I guess precise I'm trying to be with it. It really, in a section like this, it does not cut it to flame charge enemies straight on. You do lose a significant time from that. And you can see I'm like barely hitting like half the flame on the guy here. And so that if I don't do that, I'm going to bonk on this wall if I continue charging, which I do here. So yeah, so it's kind of deep in that. So it's very refined, I think is the right word. Nuanced isn't the best word, but refined is the best word. And now you can see here in this spot, we flame charge these two guys. Now with this fucking, this strong box right here, take a look at this. Watching this in slow-mo right here. Get up close to it when you flame it because you don't want any of the, especially these red gems, you don't want to leave this area too early. This is one of the longer, both of the strong boxes in this level have very long fountains, some of the longest fountains in the game, which means that the gems come out for, like there's more gems that come out, so they go blah, 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 for like a super long time. Don't charge out of this too quickly because what will happen is if you miss one of the last couple reds, I mean, A, you have to go back for them, and B, with this particular strong box, the reds can have a gem trajectory that sends them off the edge and gets them stuck on the death plane down below. So really be extra careful with this box. Don't try to do it from too early either, because that's another thing that'll happen. If say I were to try to do my flame like right here, like right when I hit the ground do the flame, that's also bad because that means I won't get to the fountain in time to catch a gem that might fall off. But just stand there long enough, you'll flame it, stand there long enough, and you'll be fine. You have to curve in with these two spring chests right here. If you just flame them, again, if you flame straight on, you're going to get the flame body blocked by that green chest. So that's why I go kind of left to right with this motion here. So I kind of go left to right. You can see on that joystick right there. I'm holding up, but I'm like I'm cranking it to the left and to the right appropriately. Now, most people will blow up that life chest. You know, I could have just flamed right here and tried to hit the life chest and the mushroom, but I decided to play it safe and really turn hard for the mushroom and then jump turn back. Technically a time loss compared to just flaming the box and continuing the charge jump. But the main thing here is don't collect this life, because if you need a life, you're better off grabbing that one because you can flame it on the way around and then grab it on the way back. So under no circumstances should you ever grab this life, even if you're at 0 lives. If you're at 0 lives, grab this life because you're going to want that for a potential death abuse after this level. So this is a spot in the game where you really do want to be paying attention to your life count. Going into Dreamweavers is where you want to, you know, that's when you want to ask the chat, like, hey, wait a minute, how many lives do I have? I mean, that's what I would do, right? Now, this section right here, tough flame charges and a lot of grenade dodging. Let's just break it down a little bit, move through it slow-mo. You know, you might like have some trouble with this section. And if you're a newer player, one option to make this area easier, especially if you're not doing the wizard proxy like I did, is you could opt to, instead of doing the supercharged turnaround up top, which I discuss in my supercharge video, I'll link off to the side here. If you go for the supercharged turnaround up there, then instead of wizard proxy, then you don't have to do the turnaround. What you could do is just go straight around the level, come back around this way, right? And you're coming back this way, and then you could just charge through these two guys. And this is near the beginning of the level instead of wizard proxy. You would charge back around, take the normal route with the supercharge, and then kill these two guys. So that way, all that's left is these enemies on the side when you come back through this way. These two enemies would be deleted, as well as that yellow gem if you were to do that strategy. So that's one potential route change for thought for people who want a safer strat in this level. Saboom does that. So if you're curious, check out his PB in this game. But I mean, really, it's a matter of baiting out the this movement. This is technically faster. If you're curious, this route is faster. but only if you do it like cleanly like I do here. So the first guy, he won't throw a grenade at you, but this second guy will. Look at that. Look at that dodge right there. If you're not careful, you will get hit by that guy pretty much every time. I mean, look how close I was to getting hit right there. Like, you can't cut it any closer than that, straight up. But basically, what I'm thinking when I flame charge this guy right here, I'm thinking, okay, that guy's going to throw, and then I see, okay, he's throwing, and I'm far enough to the left that I could curve it back around. The grenades, if they're not coming straight at you, they're not going to hit you. So you can curve around them and get around them. But basically, just think about baiting them out. Be ready for him to throw it and let him throw it before charging. That's the key right there. Keep it moving here. Extend sparks as much as possible to grab that so that you have a good line flame charging this guy. And if you do have good movement going up to this guy, then you won't have to bait him out. You can get him before he throws. But if you kind of have some wonky movement, like say, for example, you get hit by this guy, like I frankly should have. Like say you get hit by this guy, then you're going to want to bait out this guy as well because he'll be throwing his grenade too. So just be paying attention to when they're throwing. You got to get in the grenade guys' heads, really. You got to be a grenade guy to beat a grenade guy. Okay. Kosoko. Now we're going to turn hard left. Take a look at the analog stick right here. We're going to be turning hard left. A jump charge is ideal here, but I did not do one there. For any sort of turn that's above 45 degrees, like above a quarter circle turn, anything that's like, off to this angle right here, you're going to want to jump charge that. And in this case, you want to jump a flame charge, but it is kind of hard because that box is a little far away. So to jump flame charge that, you need to be kind of optimal, but it is doable from what I remember off my old boomer brain that hasn't played 120 in a few months. Crazy to think that I got this run. This is from my world record. It's crazy to think that I got this run and just put down the category. This was my last run of 120%. And since then I've been grinding any percent and got world record, which is kind of crazy to say in retrospect, but yeah. So anyways, so this part right here, you're going to be tempted to flame charge this wizard. Don't do it because you will accidentally hit the metal box with a flame. And have to grab that gem out of the air. Just deal with his shitty hitbox. Sometimes this wizard will be kind of off in this area a little bit. And oh yeah, and in this section before, I'm just doing my jump flame charges like with this guy and as well as the guy before. Just be careful with the mushrooms. Be aware. I got really lucky right there. That mushroom hit me like literally moments after Sparks saw it. Like I got very lucky in some of this stuff in this Haunted Towers, I'll admit. But the jump flame charge is just so crucial right there. And then really try to push. This is one enemy you do want to go straight on. Don't try to sideswipe these guys because their hitboxes are so fucking wonky. They're terrible. You would probably remember this if you remember the Wizard Peak tutorial. I'm always like, dude, just really try your best to hit these guys like straight on or just really hit them solidly because their hitboxes are all over the place. Doesn't matter if you flame charge him. I missed it. Pretty good cleanup. Just take that area slow. I mean, I see players try to go way too quick through this spot. There's no need for it. I mean, like with these spring chests, it takes a moment for it. See how we just broke the 2 spring chests right here. It takes a moment for these gems to hit the ground, and then from there, it takes a moment for them to become active to where Sparks will pick them up. So like, look how many frames passes between the time that I break these, and I'm technically close enough to them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sparks is still going for it. He sees it, but he hasn't grabbed it yet. 10, 11, like 10-ish frames, right? Is what it took for Sparks to actually grab those. So you don't need to go quickly through here. It's very easy to miss. Same thing with the 2 spring boxes earlier. If you're just like flame charging as fast as you can through them, there is a chance that you will miss a gem because its hitbox won't be active quickly enough. Beautiful flame charge. And with this last one right here, you don't have to do the jump flame charge. In fact, with all of these, I didn't mention this earlier, but with all of these grounded knights, you don't have to jump flame them. It's technically more optimal to do a flame charge jump off to the side, which I'll demonstrate off to the side here. You can see what that looks like. That's technically the most optimal thing to do, but I find my consistency with that is just dog shit, and I don't say that about any other flame charge in the game, which really says something about how hard these guys are. I take the easier jump flame charge. We're talking frames of difference, so I think this is worth it, especially for being able to adjust your angles, which is particularly important in this level. Having like clean angles, as you saw me talking about earlier, really kind of turning off to the right section that you want to go to with each flame charge as you're doing them. So that way you're not spending a million years in the air trying to turn around, and the really angular route in this level. Just make sure you're cutting the corners properly in order to catch everything. And with this last guy right here, you boom, you hit him, and then because it's the last gem of the level, we grab it out of the air, which is technically faster than if Sparks were to like home it in, because the gem takes time to home in. It's technically faster to grab it out of the air, but the reason we don't do that for every gem is because, you know, grabbing every gem out of the air is like bad movement. But since this is the last gem, we can do that and then exit the level. Plus, it's easier visually to see when that gem collects when you grab it out of the air like that versus a home in where it like takes a couple frames or it just moves a couple pixels as it gets really close to your body. It can be like that, I know, in any percent with like Blowhard, but I'm getting off on a tangent, guys. That was Haunted Towers right there. Thank you so much for watching this extended rant of a video, and I hope my my cosplay of a ghost didn't scare anybody too bad. But either way, I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm gonna be posting some crazy ass world records here soon. I can assure you, and let me just say, some of them aren't exactly appropriate for the main leaderboards. Yes, I have been getting some hot speed runs. So to all you guys out there watching on YouTube, cheers. Check out the Twitch. You guys already know how it is. Stay beautiful, keep chugging, and keep loving. I'll catch you in the next one. Salut.